Okay, hey everybody. I got a couple of requests after putting up our kind of video tour of a little video tour with me and an explanation. So here we go. On the studio gear side, we have a lot of cool stuff that we utilize every day. We use a hybrid system. It's not just Pro Tools, it's analog with Pro Tools because we feel that's the best sound. So when we do our mix down, we run through these guys, the SPL Mixstream. They're an awesome company. They make great sounding stuff. And this is kind of the equivalent of 32 channels of like a hybrid Neve SSL sounding mixer. So I have a lot of these Lynx interfaces. I have 5 of them. So that gives me 80 ins and outs. And everybody's like, you crazy, why'd you do this? But really the way it works is I have these guys normaled to this. So 32 outs of those guys come to this. So at any point I can take out a Pro Tools and send my 32 outs into that. So that's my 32 channel mixer. And then the input side of these are wired up to all my mic pre's for when we record. So we have a bunch of the BAE 312s, which are kind of, API clones, and the BAE 1272s, which are the Neve clones. And we've had old Neves and we've had their repros, and these new ones sound awesome, so we went with that. And we have 4 channels of the GML, which is kind of a really super clean, hi-fi sound. Very neutral, very, very cool. And that's all wired up to these bays, and they go in with Mogami cable, so the sound is as pure as it could be. And this system I could take with me to any studio, and it's all clocked through the analog clock, which is great. And so basically these guys come back to here when we mix, and because I have 80 ins and outs, every piece of outboard gear is hardwired to an insert in Pro Tools. And I can call it up and I can see it in my template, and it pulls up and it shows everything. So if I want a clips number 1, a clips number 2, etc., it's all in there. I don't have to patch. So we have, this is kind of the mixer. And on the EQ side, we have this passive EQ, which is a passive EQ made by the same guys, SPL, which is awesome. I have serial number 4, I think. I think the first one they kept, and Bob Ludwig, the amazing mastering engineer, got 2 and 3. Manley Pultec. It sounds like an old Pultec without noise and problems. It's a great EQ. I need another one. GML EQ, kind of surgical, parametric. He invented it. This is the one. Then I kind of go into my compressors. Got my classic 1176s, the reissues, 2. Distressors. Everybody's like, why do you have so many distressors? Well, obviously I like them. Second of all, when I mix, I like to keep these assigned for certain things. I never touch these. This distressor I use for tracking on the input, but these guys I keep the same. And what I do with them is this first one is used as a float or an aux send. If you ever go on the internet and check out Michael Brower, it's a whole thing about bus compression and multi-bus compression. It's pretty awesome. So basically, this comes up not on an insert on a person's vocal, but on a fader like you would with an effect. So if I have a singer that maybe needs a little more help or needs to sound more powerful in the chorus, I can ride this up. I would never run them through it. It would sound crazy, but the same thing for this one. I use this for snare. And this is amazing because I can cut drums and I can have a dry snare, and this can give you the effect of almost having a room on the snare. And that's on a side chain on a fader. And these two are kind of like the drum crusher sounds that I bring up as a stereo pair behind the drums and send the drums to them. And they're kind of invaluable, and I don't touch them. GML compressor is awesome. My buddy Andy Van Dett at Master Disc, who does a ton of records, hit me to this. It's an amazing sounding compressor, and I run all my 2-bus stuff through it, and it just touches it a little, and it does something sweet to the high end and the low. The stay level, the retro, is awesome. It's based on the Gate stay level. It's got like 7 tubes. It was a broadcast compressor. This does amazing things to the low end. It's great for vocals with a ballad. I do the same thing. I run my bass and my kick to that on an aux send a lot, besides printing some stuff through it. And the CL1B, the tube tech, sounds great on kick drum. SPL de-esser, for your S's, and that's sort of the gain stuff. As far as the effects go, I have these 2 Yamaha Pro R3s. There's some cheap reverbs now. I got them very reasonable. My partner and friend Andy Snitzer was mixing one of Chris Bodie's records, and Mike Shipley, who's like a killer engineer, who was Mutt Lange's guy forever, had a couple of these, and that's how I found out about them. And I was like, what's the big deal? And then I got one for $300, and I see what the big deal is, so I have 2. Over here I got the classic Eventide 3000 DSE. I use it a lot for like certain sounds are invaluable in that the software doesn't have, and it's kind of old school. Eclipses, I like them. I use them a lot for guitar and other stuff. Two old PCM 90s, which are great reverbs. These classics, PCM 42s, nothing sounds like them. They're great delays for vocals and lead guitar stuff. Old standby Mod Pro when you just need a quick modulation effect, and the TC chorus is like super fat. Down here, these guys interface with my other computer, which has all my writing stuff on it. I got a 70s EP3 solid state Echoplex, which sounds pretty cool. And then the guitar stuff's over there. I'll go into that in kind of another round of the video. And over here I have my screens, which is the show-off screen of every plugin that I could jam up on there. We have a lot of plugins and we use them all, and they're all good for certain things. And a while ago we got the big screen because folks in the back of the room couldn't see, and I want to watch the basketball games sometimes too. So we have that, the TiVo and everything hooked up. Furman power conditioning all the way across. I have current, voltage, UPS, everything. They're great. They hooked me up. They're great guys. And this is a Mac Pro, which was new last year. Now it's probably soon to be obsolete like everything else with computers. And that's an awesome, super fast computer. So let's go to the back and I'll show you what goes on the production side with that computer over there. So back here we have our sort of production area. We love Pro Tools for audio and for mixing and editing, but in my opinion, after using it for a while, Logic is better for MIDI. So we have Logic, and up here we have Stylus, we have Omnisphere, we have the Mini Monster, we have a whole ton of virtual synths and samples. In Stylus we have like 5,000 loops with it. We spend a lot of time cutting up different live drummers, and we use that a lot for production. And on some of these CDs there's a budget, and some there isn't. And regardless, we'll always map it out in here MIDI and then send it over to Pro Tools, and it may get replaced, it may not. But that's how we start, and this is a great place to be creative real quick over here. And we can send anything back and forth digitally between the two computers. And then we can run anything. We have two keyboards for both. So if we're up here, I can stop and start Pro Tools or punch in and out, and I can drive it from here, and I have sync to make them both work together.